reps there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. In this video, I'm going to basically show you how I built my shoulders, my 315-pound seated overhead press. I did a seated and a BTN. This is some really old footage, so you'll have to excuse it. You'll have to excuse the quality. I didn't have a lot of quality footage back then. This is 295 pounds. You can see I would unrack it. Basically, for the seated press, I would work up in threes. So I would do like 185, 215, 245, or I'd jump up by 20 pounds and do triples till I couldn't do triples anymore. And that was probably close to the end of a workout and just knocking out 295. So this is actually different footage, but it, basically showing you guys how I used to work out. This is 115-pound dumbbells for 6 reps. I would do my military or my seated overhead press. Again, working up in threes, and then sometimes doing back offsets. So basically, I might do 185 by 3, 225 by 3, 245 by 3, 265 by 3, and then 295 by 1. And then I would back down and do 5 to 8 reps. Here, I would then move on to the seated dumbbell overhead press, and generally either do 3 sets of 100 for max reps, or in this case, here I was testing myself a little bit, so I picked up the 110s just to see what I could do, and I did 6. Now I'm dropping down. I don't know if they're 90s or 95s, but after I was done here with my big heavy top set, I would back off the weight a little bit. Mainly I'm backing off the weight because I just did a lot of seated barbell pressing. So just keep in mind, all of this is after doing the seated barbell pressing. So it's a little bit of pre-fatigue. You can see here with whatever they are, 90s or 95s or whatever, they're moving a lot more quickly. Those jumps and dumbbells make a pretty big difference. When you have 110s and then you're moving down to 95s, that's 30 pounds, 30 pounds of a difference. So on paper, it doesn't seem like that much of a difference, but it's a pretty big difference. Here I'm knocking out set number 3. A pretty big difference because you're dropping down in weight and it just feels so much lighter. And you can see kind of how I've always flipped those dumbbells up. It's almost more of a workout getting those dumbbells into place than it is actually pressing them. So on my seated dumbbell press, what I mainly aim to do is get my elbows equal to or slightly lower than the shoulders and just kind of lower them to a natural position. Now after my seated barbell and my seated dumbbell pressing, I would move on to bulldozer laterals, which are next. Now these are going to look a little bit different, but these are kind of a variation that I really, really enjoy. And basically you catch the weight on your opposite hip and you drive your elbow up. So it looks a little bit silly if you've never tried it or haven't given it a chance, but after my barbell and dumbbell pressing, doing these like I am, you can really feel those side delts working. And the beautiful thing about a bulldozer lateral is that you have a little bit more leverage. It's a little bit easier on the shoulders, and you can use heavier weight and you can get a better feel. Oftentimes I would superset them with this ganky looking upright row, which actually would be kind of a little bit of icing on the cake. And then I would switch to the other side. Again, when you're doing these, you want to get a wider stance, bend the knees a little bit, catch it on the offhand. By bringing it back across the body, you get a little bit more momentum and leverage. And some people fear that momentum, but that momentum, that little extra leverage, actually makes it feel easier on the shoulders. It doesn't beat up the shoulders as much. That's what I found. And I really enjoy this movement compared to just regular side laterals. I still do side laterals, but this was really a staple for a long time. And when I'm doing these bulldozer laterals, I would always feel like, okay, I don't want to put the dumbbell down yet. I'm going to just knock out a max rep set. upright rows. So now after this, I would typically maybe do some rear delt work. If I had any energy left, depending on where I was at a home gym, obviously I wouldn't be doing this type of pressing. But here in this type of environment, I moved on to the seated overhead machine press. Basically, what I would do here is just sneak up in weight. So I started with a plate on each side for 8 to 10. I don't recall and then I would move up to 2 plates for 8 to 10. Here I'm up to 3 plates for 8 by 10, and I believe next I move up to 3.5, and let's see how many reps I knocked out. So I basically would kind of just ramp up and take things by feel. At this point, this is my 4th shoulder exercise of the day. My shoulders are pretty toast, so I'm kind of working up in weight just to see what I can do. Let's see how many I get here. That's 2, that's 3, 4. Let's see if I can get many more than this. No, that's about it. So I'm calling it quits. And finally, I would do these a little bit for side delts. If you do these, you focus on moving your elbows back to move the weight. So guys, that's basically how I trained to build a 315-pound seated overhead press and seated BTN press, and how I trained to build my shoulders. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.